Hi-ho silver, away. Hey, what's up everybody? Jeff Pilkington, Launch TV. Here at Launch TV, we are the future, and the future is Launch TV. That's right, we are here. More Mandela Effects. It's 2020. We're having fun. If you like my videos, please like, please subscribe, please comment. We're always chatting. We're always doing all that stuff in the comments. The social media links are all right there for your fun. Love you guys. Chatting as always after the videos. More podcasts to come as well with Kira and I. We are just having a blast. Now let's get to some Mandela Effects today because we got a few to roll through. Maybe like 6 or 7, and we'll have some fun with it. Let's see where we get. With that being said, let's go. First Mandela Effect we have today. Okay, now we all remember the Lone Ranger. I mean, who would not remember the Lone Ranger? Who was the Lone Ranger? The Lone Ranger was a fictional masked Texas Ranger who fought outlaws in the American Old West. But there was a famous quote that the Lone Ranger said that we all remember. And what was the famous quote that he said? That's right, I said it in the intro. It was, "Hi ho silver, away! Hi ho silver, away! I have to go away soon because these Mandela Effects are driving me crazy." And what do I remember about hi ho silver away? Well, that's how I remember it. It was hi ho. Like, hi-ho, you know, like the Seven Dwarves. Except when you look at it now and you go to the Wikipedia entry, it was always hi-yo silver. Hi-yo silver? Like, doesn't that yo just look weird there? Now, you can see a little bit of residue of hi-ho on the internet, but like, the official Wikipedia entry is hi-yo. And if you like listen to it now, he says hi-yo. It was never hi-yo. It was always hi-ho silver. Like, how could that change like that? Like, that is so weird to me because you look at it, I mean, the Lone Ranger was really famous, well-known. I mean, it was played by this, you know, Clayton Moore. They've made remix, and it was like the most famous line. And I like would say it like forever when I was like a kid and when I was growing up. It was always hi ho silver away. So yo is just strange and it needs to go, and hi yo and just go. So yo, go, and bring back ho, because ho's better than yo and yo needs to go. That's all I got. I'm here all week. All right, so this one's weird. Lone Ranger was great, but let's now move on to a movie. Now, you all remember Shazam. We've talked about Shazam so many times. Shazam was with the lovely Sinbad. It is a movie about a genie that everybody seems to remember that was back in the 80s and 90s, and it somehow disappeared. What happened to Shazam? We don't know. It just disappeared. Sinbad Shazam is gone, okay? That movie didn't exist, but everybody remembers it. A genie in an attic that 2 kids found, and Sinbad was Shazam. I remember it so clearly, but it's disappeared. Ironically, there was also a Shazam that was just made recently. That whole thing was strange because another movie was out called Shazam. But anyway, getting over Shazam, another movie has disappeared from history, and this is really driving me crazy because there was a movie when I was growing up and it was called Batteries Not Included. And it was this elderly couple in New York, and they had a diner, and like the little saucers showed up. Their little alien AI saucers showed up, okay? And they like helped the couple because I think their property was getting sold, and there was all these things went down. I remember the diner was vandalized and all this stuff went down, but the saucers ended up kind of helping them get their life back. Like the little AI aliens helped them get their life back. The problem is there was Batteries Not Included, and then there was a sequel a couple years later. In the second movie, God, I remember this so clearly, was how did this movie disappear? I can't even say it. It was Batteries Still Not Included, or Batteries Not Included 2. It is so crazy that Batteries Still Not Included. It was like a timeline with, I think, their daughter, and it was extension of what they started. Like the saucers came back and it was the whole thing, but it was with their kid, and it was Batteries Still Not Included. Batteries Not Included 2, Batteries Still Not Included. I even remember there was like an African American guy saying it, like Batteries Still Not Included, and it went right into this sequel, and it was a timeline with the daughter, and that whole movie doesn't exist now. Like, it doesn't even exist. If you Google it, there's like these Reddit places that, like these Reddit forums talking about it, and everybody's like, where did it go? I remember Batteries Still Not Included so well, but it never existed. Another movie has walked away. By the way, I had to mention real quick, this is just a quick one, let's just throw in little bonus ones. Cliff Notes, we all remember Cliff Notes? It's gone to Cliff's Notes. It's plural. Cliff's Notes. Why is Cliff Notes now Cliff's Notes? That is so ridiculous. I talked about it a year ago in a video, but Cliff Notes is now Cliff's Notes. It was never Cliff's Notes. It was Cliff Notes. Why is it now Cliff's Notes? They say it's always been Cliff's Notes, but Cliff's Notes just sounds weird to me. Cliff's Notes needs to go back to Cliff Notes, because it was always Cliff Notes. Moving on. Okay, next one. Let's see. Okay, the Wall Street crash of 1929. Now, the Wall Street crash of 1929, the thing is there were a lot of deaths. People remember people jumping out of windows at the Wall Street crash of 1929. Like, literally, there was people jumping out of windows. People remember all these suicides, all these people dying. Well, now, history says that there were no deaths in the Wall Street crash of 1929. Currently, history says there were no deaths. Like, it was right before the Great Depression. It was the summer of 1929. It gained momentum into October, and it was the famous Wall Street crash. There's even articles about people jumping out of windows. Economist John Kenneth Galbraith wrote in The Great Crash of 1929, in the United States, the suicide wave that followed the stock market crash is also part of the legend of 1929. But in fact, there were none. How does that happen? John Kenneth Galbraith says there were none. So there were actually no suicides, but people remember suicides. Why do people at least remember of suicides from the Wall Street crash of 1929 when there were no suicides? Like, that's weird. So that's another one of those razzle-dazzle historical changes. So we've got Wall Street 29. We've got the Wall Street crash of 1929. People remember people committing suicide and dying when actually they were not. So myth. Anyway, I don't know. Mandela Effect. Why do people think that? I don't know. Too strange. Driving everybody crazy, but nobody knows for sure why that is. So anyway, let's move on to The Lion King. Hakuna Matata. We all remember the lovely Hakuna Matata. And what were those guys' names? We had like two guys that sang. Like, they sang, and they were like on the bridge with the moonlight and all that stuff. Timon! So we had Timon, and the other guy's name was Pumba. Now, I remember Pumbaa being spelled P-U-M-B-A, okay? P-U-M-B-A. And now Pumbaa has an extra A. And the extra A, a lot of people are saying just looks weird. It's like the Seann William Scott, there being an extra N, you know? And Kate Beckinsdale, which I remember, she's now Kate Beckinsale. And Dan Aykroyd's name, I remember it A-C-K-R-O-Y-D. And now it's all weird. Like, if you look at Dan Aykroyd, he's spelled A-Y-K-R-O-Y-D. A-Y-K-R-O-Y-D for Ackroyd. That's just bizarre. Pumbaa now has an extra A. You know, Seann William Scott, I just can't stand it. I mean, there's that extra N there. I want to make sure it doesn't change back. And then I remember Kate Beckinsdale with a D in there, but it's always been Sale, so Dale went to Sale. Strange. Woo! Spelling. Let's keep going. That's 3. Okay, Germany. We all know sauerkraut. Sauerkraut always came from Germany. Popular food. Gotta love those probiotics. Take your sauerkraut, eat your sauerkraut. Sauerkraut, as I remember, came from Germany, but that's not the case. Apparently, it originated in China. History says sauerkraut came from China. Do you remember history saying it came from Germany, or do you remember China? Because it was always China, but I remember Germany. It always seemed like a German thing, like have a beer and eat some sauerkraut. Like, yeah, that's what they did in the snow. Like, you would have sauerkraut and drink beer and hang out. But now it's coming from China. Why is all the history stuff changing? It's just like the history ones are like the most bizarre of all. Okay, let's do a few more. So Moneybags revealed on his YouTube, he talked about this Marriott Hotel. And it's very strange because he got it from this other person named Life Matrix, another YouTuber, did a video about this Marriott Hotel underneath the Twin Towers. Now, do you remember that Marriott Hotel being underneath the Twin Towers? Because it looks pretty strange and a lot of people don't remember that being there. I mean, there was like a huge crash. There was even, like, there was a video that was made about it. Let's show a clip from that video. So that's strange. And like, there was a whole video and it was like a part of the towers that connected them. The Marriott Hotel. Do you remember that Marriott being there and being reported on? It's like the hurricane. I don't remember the hurricane, which I talked about in my last video. Just put a card up there. Now we've got the Marriott, which was part of 9/11. So there's stripes on the side now, which I talked about in the other video. There was a hurricane the morning of, and now we got the Marriott. I don't remember anything about the Marriott. I never heard about the Marriott. Now the Marriott might have been there. Like, I legitimately just may not have ever heard of it. So that's fine. Like, I just didn't hear about that piece of it. I don't remember the news talking about it when that happened. So maybe they just didn't talk about it, but I feel like I would know if there was a giant Marriott Hotel at the base of the World Trade Center when 9/11 happened. So that just seems really strange to me. So Moneybags talked about it, Life Majors talked about it. Let me know in the comments if you remember the Marriott Hotel at the base of the World Trade Center. Strange. Okay, weird. Okay. Couple more. Pulp Fiction. We all know Pulp Fiction, the popular 1994 movie with Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta. I love Pulp Fiction. That's just a great classic movie, right? Smoking cigarettes and watching Captain Kangaroo. I mean, what could be better than Pulp Fiction? The thing is, there's been a little thing going around the internet about Mr. Wolf in the last scene of the movie. People remember a shot of the license plate of Mr. Wolf's. It was his Winston Wolf, and he was like the Mr. Fix-It, but there was a vanity plate at the end that people remember reading. It said Mr. Wolf as his license plate. They remember Mr. Wolf being the license plate. And now when you watch Pulp Fiction, the license plate is 3ABM581. 3ABM581. Do you remember the license plate being Mr. Wolf, or do you remember it being 3ABM581? Because it's sketching a lot of people out. It's now that 3ABM581, but a lot of people remember Mr. Wolf. What do you remember Mr. Wolf's, Mr. Fix-It, Winston Wolf, what do you remember his license plate being in Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction? A lot of mix-up. Was it Mr. Wolf? Because it's not anymore. It's now this weird letter and number combo. That's a weird one. Let's see, what else do we got here? So we all know rainbows. We all know rainbows. Rainbows are very popular. Apparently, there's always been moonbows, sunbows, and fogbows. Do you remember rainbows? I mean, we all remember rainbows. Do you remember moonbows and fogbows and sunbows? Because if you look it up, a sunbow is an arch resembling a rainbow made by the sun shining through vapor or mist. But isn't that what a rainbow is? Why is there a sunbow now? And then if you look at moonbow, that's even weirder. So we've got a moonbow is a rainbow produced by moonlight rather than direct sunlight. Other than the difference of the light source, its formation is the same as for a solar rainbow. So a moonbow is from the moonlight, a sunbow is from the sun, a rainbow is after the rain. Then we've got a fogbow, and the fogbow comes from a white rainbow. It is a similar phenomenon to a rainbow. However, its name suggests it appears as a bow in fog rather than rain. So you've got fogbows for when there's fog, and rainbows for rain, and then you've got sun creating sunbows, and you've got moons creating moonbows. So all these bows, I have to goes, and I don't know what more to say about all these bows because it's just, I don't remember any of them at all. I really don't. I only remember rainbow. I don't remember moonbow, sunbow, fogbow. Like legitimately, I don't. What about you? I think we're good. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you. Short run through of Mandela Effects. Please be sure to like, subscribe, social media, all that as I said in the beginning. Jeff Pilkington, Launch TV. Here at Launch TV, we are the future, and the future is Launch TV. Peace later.